Hi everyone, my name's Angela, and today I'm going to be reviewing Emily Henry's latest romance novel, Funny Story. In this review, I'm not going to be spoiling the book or giving you every single trope and plot point that happens. I'm just going to be giving you my thoughts on it, who I think this will work for, who I think this will not work for, and just a general overview of how this made me feel. So my favorite Emily Henry romance novel is Beach Read. It was the first one I've read. I've read all of the adult romance novels that she has released, and so here's my ranking. Beach Read, Funny Story, Happy Place, People We Meet on Vacation, and Book Lovers. So if you have a similar taste to me in terms of the ranking, maybe my thoughts in this book will help you know that you're gonna love it, or maybe if you have opposite thoughts, you might be a little worried. We're gonna see. If you're watching this and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, I've never read an Emily Henry book, what is this lady talking about? I would highly recommend starting with Beach Read or People We Meet on Vacation, or what the heck, you can start with whichever one sounds the most fun to you. But personally, I think Beach Read is a really great start. That's where I started. That's her first romance novel that she published, and it's amazing. So in Funny Story, we have our main characters, Daphne and Miles, and the whole story is from Daphne's perspective. And she has recently been dumped by her fiance Peter, who realized that he has been in love with his childhood best friend Petra. And so he and Petra get together, meaning that Daphne needs to move out of the house that he just bought, and now she has nowhere to go in this small Michigan town where she moved to be with Peter. All the people she knows in this town are Peter's friends and family, so she's pretty much just stuck. And the one person who has an extra room is Miles, who is Petra's boyfriend that she dumped when she got together with Peter. So now Daphne and Miles are both two people who have recently been dumped, and they're both dealing with this breakup in very different ways. The other thing keeping Daphne here in this northern Michigan town is the fact that she has a job at the local library. She's a librarian. She loves her job. She loves doing story hour with the kids and interacting with all the library patrons, and seeing her love of the library and how the library has affected her life and how much passion she has for it is just so sweet. And I think if you as the reader have any sort of connection to libraries from your childhood or from your adulthood and you really love them, I think this book will really pull at your heartstrings, as it did for me. And it was such a smart choice from Emily Henry to have a librarian as a main character, because all of us book lovers are just like obsessed with it. And yes, I know she literally has a book called Book Lovers, but I think it's a lot sweeter in this book, the connection to like books. Obviously, Nora in Book Lovers is like an editor or a literary agent or something like that, but I think the quaint feel of the library in this book was just worked a lot better for me. This novel really feels like a rom-com. If that's something that you've been looking for in Emily Henry, like maybe you didn't like Happy Place because it wasn't as lighthearted and funny as some of her other books, I think this one will really work for you. There was so much humor in the banter between our two main characters. There's also a lot of humor in this ridiculous situation of two people who are living together who have both been dumped by people who are now together. There's a lot of humor in the quirky library patrons that Daphne deals with, and we do see her going to work and interacting with her coworkers, and that is such a fun part of the book as well. There are still emotions and issues that the characters have to deal with within themselves. It's not completely just a light, funny comedy where absolutely nothing emotional happens. I would say overall it's still pretty lighthearted. There's nothing too heavy that happens in this book. I know a lot of people maybe didn't like Happy Place as much because it is more emotional. It's about two characters who have broken up recently, so there's a lot of sadness and heartbreak, and it doesn't necessarily feel like a rom-com, even if there are some funnier moments. So I think if Happy Place didn't work for you, but you still really love Emily Henry, you've got to read Funny Story. I think it will really make you fall in love with her writing again. One thing that I really appreciated was how Miles wasn't really defined by his profession. I feel like in a lot of romance novels we kind of have a character and their profession, and their profession works to tell us a lot about their personality. And obviously this is true for Daphne, like she's a librarian and a lot of her personality traits kind of go hand in hand with her profession. But Miles is a bartender, and it's not necessarily like a profession that you would see in a lot of romance novels. You know, he's not a firefighter, he's not a lawyer, he's not a teacher, and there is some discussion of this in the book about how people view him as not being serious or put together just because he has this job that people perceive as being not very serious or professional or important. And I really loved the exploration of that, because not everyone needs to work at an office, not everyone needs to go to college and be in debt and you know, have this kind of traditional job. And I really thought Miles was a unique male character. I don't think we've seen anything like him in Emily Henry, and I think people are gonna really enjoy that and feel refreshed by his character work. If it isn't obvious by now, I gave Funny Story 5 stars. I loved it. I thought it was a pretty perfect romance novel. There was a moment in the book that I was a little annoyed by for maybe like 20 pages, but other than that, it was a pretty darn perfect romance novel. I hope you guys pick it up. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a lovely week, and check out my channel if you want more reviews of new releases, reading blogs, and whatever else I cook up this summer. Bye!